Namaskara. Thank you very much for having me. My name is Raaghav Belavadi, as I've been already introduced. What I do is I sell very high-level aspirations among people. I know that this is a country of high aspiration people, high aspiration energy, and we have always demonstrated that. Picture this, 8, 9-year-old boy, long time ago, was playing around his house, and there passes by a beautiful, flashy Mercedes car, and he goes towards the car and he starts peeping inside the car. It's curious, kids are, and leaves, his handprints on the glasses. Suddenly, from nowhere, the owner comes out and pulls him aside and gives him a tight slap, and gives him a stern warning that never ever come towards this car. This is not for you. That was me many years ago, and I don't even remember how the Mercedes looked like those days. But I knew that was a very attractive car, and I still try to figure out what was that car and how did it look like. Only about 40, 50 years later, we have 34,000 of such cars globally. And to my satisfaction, we have more than 10,000 Mercedes cars globally. So that gives me some times that I got it. So I still don't know what Mercedes model was. But that's how the beginning was. It's important that we learn. Life gives you a tight slap, many times. During our when you are growing up as a child, when you are during your education, when you are you're aspirant for your career on a professional ground. But I think what it always gives you, it gives you a very strong message. Growing up, I was just a regular kid. I come from Mysore, a lower middle class family, where for last 1,000 generation, I don't think anybody even had a car. We are a typical Bajaj scooter family. So to owning a car those days was extraordinarily difficult. It was almost next to impossible. And my father always said, it's not about owning a car or something as a luxury, as a success, but how you get there is all the more important. I mean, come on, I was real small kid, and I didn't get these heavy-duty messages. My father still keeps telling me, but I still don't get my head around that. But I know that that's a lesson that needs to be learned. At school, again, I'm talking about my background so that you know the underlying foundation for how things at uttermost simplicity can begin. And it could actually take a grand, magnanimous, larger-than-life picture, if you allow it to, with just simple facts like believing in yourself and keep at it and dedication, kind of very simple words. Not anything that you guys already don't know of. Back at school, I was just a regular kid, and I see a lot of smart kids here, who are doing IIMB, a reputed institution, much higher education. But I was more interested in playing sports, cricket. I tried Carnatic classical music, and I also tried NCC. So I wanted to become a musician. I was doing really well with All India radio certification and everything. But then my parents warned me, saying that, "Bada hoke kya banega? So are you going to play music? Are you going to raise a family with this kind of money?" And they only said, "No, it's not possible." I said, "Okay, if it's not possible, it's not possible." Then I was in NCC for like far too many years, almost like a military officer. And I wanted to join army. I wanted to become an army officer. Again, my father and my mother warned me that, we are only 3 children, and if you go to army and something happens, then, you're the only youngest son. And I always told them, well, I'm gone. You have still 2 more, So not a big deal at all. Then somebody else will become the youngest. So allow me. Then they said, no, it's absolutely no problem. You should go and study engineering. It's like, yeah, this is not fair. And I wanted to do cricket. And again, those days cricket was like, hardly in 1983 we had won a World Cup with so much of controversy. Absolutely no future. And not like you have KPL, APL, BPL, CPL kind of stuff. So, we didn't have anything like that. It was, we only had Ranji and then straight away to national teams. So that was also ruled out, and I was like, guys, all the doors are blocked now. So where do I go? And at the same time, I was a below average guy, So somehow I got into engineering, finished my engineering. There was a time I remember my mother, who I lost only 2 days ago, she had written on the wall that you will never pass your 10th grade. And as a child, I almost believed that yeah, my mom is saying that maybe she knows it, that maybe I will never be able to go past 10th grade. Somehow did it, like we all do. There are a lot of relatives and friends when we had to go to their house as a family. They used to say, yeah, you guys are okay, but see if you can leave behind Raaghav at home. He's too mischievous. And I was like, yeah, why me all the time? Because you come and break things. So you come and break things is a mental model. It's not destructive, but it's kind of, you begin to break a lot of things in your future life of breaking norms, breaking staccatos. You begin to do that. I think that's probably was my nature. I still haven't figured out though. I finished my engineering and I thought, I got it. I'm an engineer. I should go and get a job. But you trust me, every single soul in my college, I studied at N.I.E. Mysuru in mechanical. Everybody, even the guys who were pathetic in studies and failed for years, everybody got an online, off campus, on campus, all sort of job except for me. And I was like, my father is on one side teaching me that, dedication, hard work, resilience, and all this. And hopefully I'm practicing something, but where did I end up with? Somehow I got a job. And I'm also a Penn State dropout. Don't ask me, that's a big, it's a big story. I somehow got a job in Satyam Computers. Those days it was a startup. We used to work in JP Nagar in a 4-bedroom apartment. My project manager was Ramling Raju, who was the founder of Satyam. Then I worked at Wipro Infotech, which was a brand new company at that time. Azim Premji was our group head, and I was in one of his team members. Then many years later, I joined Infosys. I was directly working under Narayan Murthy's pet project in the Asia Pacific region. So I've seen all the founders. It's not that I was learning something and I was trying to become greater or something, but along the way, I thought, this is not for me. I'm going and doing this job, and I worked in probably top 5 major IT companies, and I never wrote a single line of code. I don't know how it came up, but at Accenture, I must say that was a turning point in my life, and I had a meteoric rise in Accenture the moment I joined. So sometimes what happens is you wait for too long, and suddenly life gives you an extraordinary turn. So I rose so well up into the top leadership level, and I was working out of Toronto and Zurich for many years. And I jumped off, and then this entrepreneurship bug bit me. Back in those 10, 12 years ago, it was not really an entrepreneurship and startup. It wasn't that crazy anyway. But doing a startup is a perfect way to lose all your wealth and loved ones overnight. I think you should really think about doing things like this. I mean, this can turn your best friend into the most hated person in your life. And again, somebody like me who has no pedigree, no credentials, no rank student, no titles, and trying to do something, quite a few failures, and then one became successful. Returned to India. After many, many years, that was, to my credit, Switzerland government had invited me to come and set up my first startup. I was the first Indian, and I was awarded. And then Berlin invited me, so I went and started my first fintech. It's something in Schwyz-Deutsch. I don't know the exact name of the title, but that's how they invited me. But all of those hustles were over. I came back to India. See, as a boy, I was always fascinated with cars, right? So I didn't have anything else to do. I was on bench. Basically, I was educated, and I was on bench, and I thought, yeah, this country, if it has something, I read about somewhere that about few hundred years ago, we had $40 trillion in wealth, and everything was looted, and we lost all this wealth. And I was like, yeah, maybe we still have it. We are not kind of people who show off a lot, at least not in India, at least not in South India, especially speaking. right? So, well, then people still have money. Now you go to Gujarat, you go to Andhra especially, and people who are, who are 8,000, 10,000 crores kind of a business go around in a Toyota Innova. So I thought like maybe we should do that. It's culturally very challenging. Then I started with just 3 or 4 cars from Bangalore, right here in Bangalore, headquartered. Fast forward, we became India's largest luxury mobility. We have about 14,000 cars, and globally we have about 34,000 cars. And in the last few years, we have made it to about 9, 10 different countries. We just copy pasted the same format onto private jets and yachts, because everywhere, imagine this: you have a lot of money, you are forced to go in a local cab. So you'll always feel that, boss, if somebody can give me a better car and a better service. So suddenly, the most wealthiest lot were the most underprivileged. They have to go outside India to have very good cars, very good private jets. And we're still, a very small team. You won't believe that we are still 28 people, and our global asset value is over 650 billion US dollars. And as somebody like a DNB, thank you. They did an analysis and they did some PR and everything. Even I did not know that. I was like, wow, really? We have $650 billion? And my wife was like, can we have 1% of that? So can we just, encash 1% of that? So it's because we own almost 40% of the aircraft the world has, including commercial jets and private jets. Private jets constitute about 22,000. I think commercial aircrafts where we all fly, it's about 28, 30,000 roughly, right? So, so all said and done, we are a 1,000 crore company and we're $650 billion, everything. So you might wonder, like, yeah, you came from this Bajaj scooter family. How do you know how to serve the elites? It's a very interesting question. We did not know, and I probably still don't know a lot. We learned it from our customers. We asked every time our customers, how was it? And they said, yes, good, because your providing says, but this, and we took that. So we made our customers run our business. It's because of that we still are operating with a very small team, and we made sure that it's not the Mercedes car that will make you happy. I can tell you that. Even if you go in a Rolls Royce. Okay, so from here IIM to airport, how long does it take approximately? About 2 hours on a bad day? On a good day, 2 hours. So suddenly if I put you in a Rolls Royce, you suddenly feel that it was just hardly 10, 15 minutes. Well, we didn't change the clock though, right? But your experience changed. What are you busy with when you're sitting inside a Rolls Royce? You're taking selfies and you are looking outside, that who is looking at you? You're more busy. And you're always turning around, oh, look how many people they're taking shots and they go in front of you and they make videos and they put it on the reels. In that moment, you lose the track of time, and before you realize, like, man, we are already at the airport. We should have had another 1 hour, No, don't worry, we are building one more in Dodballapur for an airport. It's going to be even more hour longer. So what we realized was experience matters everything. So if I look back at my own life, my experience was the greatest thing, because I was just careless, fun kid who was busy thinking about whatever my wild dreams are. See, when I come from a small city, even to dream big, you need permission. Those were the days. I mean, today you guys can just step out of the college and go and dream something big and get funded and everything. So I had to build this business, and my dad wouldn't give me money. And I have to source everything on my own. So we are still, by philosophy, we are a zero VC funded company. And we would like to keep it that way because our focus is on building a market that doesn't even exist in India, right? So, and India has always been looked down upon by the West. Here is the deal. You take away everything from somebody's house and you call them that you're a poor person. Well, look who is talking. You made me poor, right? You must be very audacious, right? So if somebody is saying that India's economy is a discount-driven, coupon-driven market, cheap stuff, compromised service delivery and everything, I'm sure you would have heard about this. That's where you'll see, you turn your head everywhere from a food delivery app to and a grocery app, you'll everywhere see you'll give 10, 15%, our eyes will go there. let's order something. So we changed that. When you say, no, we are the most expensive. Because you get somewhere else a Mercedes car for, let's say, 10,000. So we are here with 20,000. Why? We give you pride of brand. You're part of a bigger brand now. You're part of a bigger global chain now. You're part of something that we built right from India and took it outside as a global. And that's exactly what I wanted to do, and that's what we all should do. So I will also let you know that this is high aspirations, high adrenaline things. We are a very small team. So sometimes people think, I get a lot of requests from business schools, IITs, everywhere, that why don't you come and hire? And I look at my team and say, boss, we're getting a lot of invitations. Should we go and hire? And they will always tell me, for what? What do we do with these new people? We can hire interns. Well, we don't have time to teach interns because they'll be at loss. We still have a policy to train interns so that they learn about luxury and everything. So along the journey, your aspiration likely to overshadow your values. Please keep that in mind. So if you're at fork, make sure that you choose your values over aspirations. Because if you follow the values path, eventually it will lead you to the same destination what aspirations would have done. But if you go in the aspiration side, I'm not sure. The values might just go away. So that's my humble message to the posterity, to all of those who are pursuing their dreams as big as possible. Again, congratulations, and wish you best of luck in whatever you're doing. Thank you very much. I stay here? Okay, I still have the mic. Sorry.
Thank you, sir, for your speech on sticking to one's values.
Did I stick to the time, though?
Sir? We also offer our deepest condolences for your recent loss, and we're so grateful that you chose to still be here. And for that, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you so much. We invite Shreya, our co-organizer, to present a memento to Mr. Belavadi. All right, so I change. We request our lead organizer, Vairagya, to present the memento to Mr. Belavadi.
Thank you.